Greetings and salutations. Lefty Lucy coming to you with my alter ego, Guy Fawkes, up there. Love him. A few things I jotted down today that I wanted to go over. One of those was in my last video, I mentioned the salaries of the Texas representatives who've left the state in order to keep from having to vote on the basically gerrymandering up the state. And I mentioned their salaries, and I said it was roughly around $38,000, and I got that right off the Texas website, what I thought, and it is what I thought was good information, and I think basically it is, but there seems to be a conflict over the per diem, the per day amount they get while they're in session, and what this actually adds up to. And I'm hearing other news feeds referring to them as making $600 a day, and basically like $7,200 a year. At this point, I can't figure out which is which. I'm going to let it go. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't, and none of us have time to go down goofy rabbit holes like this anymore. Maybe someday we'll have that time and luxury to do that. Basically telling the truth. At this point, really, what does it matter? These people are doing this with great risk to themselves. And now, because of the bomb threat, yada yada, it's a great risk, and to their families are away from their families. So, I can just let it go. But that's the truth as far as I know it, and I'm not giving any bullshit here. If there's a mistake, it was inadvertent, and I'm not able to find what I think is good factual information on that. But anyways, my thing today is about how we knew. And when I say we knew, I mean baby boomers. I'll take just a few basic points. One of them is about the environment. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. The first Earth Day celebration was in 1970. Yeah, it was a lot of hippies and stuff, so mainstream wasn't too into it. But, it wasn't like too many years after that, I'll give it 10, 15 years ago, that mainstream knew we needed to recycle. And we knew there was an issue. We knew that we knew a lot of the things were showing up that we were doing to the earth, and yet we were being responsible enough. In my own town, of course, I lived in Flint, and we were, by that point, kind of behind the eight ball on a lot of things. But half the time, we didn't have recycling of any variety, where you go to the recycle center and you stand there and sort out the brown bottles from the clear bottles, from the green bottles, and all that happy crap. And this is anecdotal, but I remember one place we had, it was scary and it was nasty looking. And our crook mayor was the one who provided the property, Don Williamson. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but that's another story. He served time with my uncle on these fraud terms. Boy, I'm just going down a lot of incidental rabbit holes. But anyways, I remember thinking when I got out to do my recycling, I felt like rats the size of cats were going to attack me and drag me down the sewers. It was that creepy. But, we knew, but we didn't know. And I remember, like in Flint and most of the areas around there, curbside recycling didn't come till about the mid-90s, late 90s, somewhere in there. And now, and I haven't been able to find reliable sources of why they say this, but I don't doubt it, I'm not doubting it, that a huge portion of what we recycle doesn't get recycled anyways. And this whole thing, I'm going, off on, it doesn't really have to do with recycling. It has to do with our just blatant disregard for the earth. Um, I personally do feel we needed to be more like Native Americans and consider ourselves stewards of the earth, which we haven't been. It's about greed and our immaturity all the way around. I think we've been very immature, and I'm not blaming all this on the baby boomers, but each successive generation hasn't gotten generally a whole bunch better. I think it's starting to. I mean, we see it, we know the effects, and quite honestly, I find it very scary, and things are happening in the environment at a hugely accelerated rate. And that's another thing, I've seen theories about, well, the earth does this every, so many thousands of years or billions of years or millions of years. And I totally agree. I mean, I've seen the science and the research, but I do believe that we have accelerated it exponentially. Whatever was going to happen, we've, done a super acceleration on that. But that's another thing. And by the way, back in the day too, recycling and all of the things that were environmentally sound, a lot of them got hijacked by extremists. And that's one of the things since I've been alive that I've noticed. We've allowed things, good things, bad things, to all get hijacked by extremists. Case in point, Ronald Reagan is kind of where I think a lot of this started. And it's not about Democrat and Republican. It's about this whole way of thinking, like big business is better. And Reagan, wanted to disassemble, to get rid of any corporate regulations, and he started a lot of it. And I mean, he broke up the union for the air traffic controllers, and that in itself has not been a good thing. And we're probably thinking, yeah, but they could just walk out while people are up in the air and stuff. And it's like, some of the things that are going on, do a little research on what's happening with air traffic controllers nowadays. And even 2-3 years ago, this isn't just a Trump thing, although he let that idiot Musk in there and, fired all these air traffic controllers. What a moron. I hope he flies a lot. I don't know. The thing with Reagan, too, is one of the things that's bothered me for a long time, that makes me feel like we're an immature, unserious country, or have been. I think we're growing up fast, and I think we're becoming a lot more serious in a lighthearted way. Is not our fascination, our worship of celebrities. I mean, this whole crap with Diddy and stuff, this couldn't have happened if he wasn't a celebrity. I mean, and Trump too. I mean, it's like, oh, they're celebrities, so they're better than us, and yada, yada, yada. And I'll give you, some celebrities have certain talents that most of us don't have and never could dream of. Donald Trump is not one of them. He doesn't even have any talent as far as business. And that's a fact. All of his bankruptcies and all of his bailouts, but that's another story. I'm headed off into the weeds again. But anyways, Ronald Reagan, wanting to make businesses supreme in our trickle-down economics. It's like, you give everything to the big businesses, the tax breaks, you do everything for business, and they'll hire people and make it a strong economy, and it'll all trickle down. And it's like, yeah, and it doesn't, because of greed. The corporations have a more huge percentage of profits than they've ever had, and we keep chiseling away at all of the antitrust laws. And even Teddy Roosevelt, who was a Republican, was all about no trust, breaking up trust. He knew that that was a, sorry, I was somewhat expecting a call, and if I didn't get it, I was going to continue doing this. That was just a scam, likely. But we need to bring back antitrust. And Bill Clinton, too, even though he balanced the budget, he balanced it on a lot of things that were super pro-business, and he's going to come out very, very badly in the Epstein files if we ever, get the truth. I don't think there's a real list, but I think we need to talk to the victims and find out what's going on. But the thing about the Epstein list, I'm so sorry for the victims, is that we've, how do I say this? I don't think there's a list, but I think that there are a lot of people that need to be brought down that have allowed power to bully and dominate people for years, and we've misused. That's another place we're immature and not serious. We do not know how to use power. It's like, the saying, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I do believe absolute power is a very corrupting influence. I mean, none of us like to be told we're wrong or that we're an asshole, or even like to be told no. But that's part of being a damned adult. I mean, my God, so stuff like that happens. And by the way, speaking of Bill Clinton, he repealed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. Something for you to look up today. And another one of the things that kept big businesses doing right as good citizens. Big businesses should be good citizens, just like citizens should be good citizens. And speaking of citizens, Citizens United, I think it was 2010 that was passed, where corporations can give unlimited amounts of donations to campaigns and stuff. And don't get me started on campaign finance. That's a whole... Bernie's right. I'm going to be saying that. You'll hear that a lot. So if you hate Bernie, you won't want to watch this. And but Bernie is right, and he's getting ready to go on another tour. I'm going, go Bernie, go Bernie. I might dig into my little pocketbook here and send him a little bit of whatever I can afford to send him. But till next time, Guy Fawkes and I will keep at it and come back at you. And I know I might not be everybody's cup of tea, and I get that. I mean, probably most people are going, what the fuck is that old lady, fat old woman talking about? She's just babbling, and then she's just like, duh. I get it. It's like, but it might be somebody that gets this, somebody that sees this, that just gives them enough hope and goes, I can get out there, I can do something, I can be committed to the truth, I can be committed to learning more about what's going on. And speaking about what's going on, the whole amount of what I know about politics, and shame on me, I basically learned in the last year. I always ran away from the news because it was too depressing. And so it's like, if I thought it was depressing before, how about it now, there, old fat one? Yeah. So see you guys next time. Keep the faith. Got to keep the faith, baby.